glad you can join us. Here's what we have for you this Wednesday. New charges against a former Canadian Olympian turned alleged drug kingpin.
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Inside the expanding hunt for one of the FBI's most wanted.
And this can destroy lives, careers, and hurt the party.
Why Quebec's Liberal leader is calling for an investigation into his own campaign.
Society has changed to be less active.
Plus, working out Canada's poor grade in physical activity.
CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo.
An extraordinary media briefing in Washington today involving the RCMP, the FBI, and the Department of Justice. They are on the hunt for Ryan Wedding, a one-time Canadian Olympic snowboarder, now on the FBI's most wanted list. He's described as a modern-day Pablo Escobar, dangerous, deadly, and responsible for a major narcotics trafficking and terror program. CTV's Mike LeCouture on the new charges, the hunt for the fugitive who allegedly ordered the murder of a witness, and the big reward. Mike.
Well, Sandy, the reward for Wedding's arrest has been upped to $15 million American, a significant amount for someone that law enforcement says is a major drug kingpin.
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Law enforcement in Canada and the U.S. are calling the former Canadian Olympic snowboarder the leader of a transnational criminal enterprise. In addition to reportedly shipping truckloads of cocaine across North America, the FBI and U.S. Justice Department are now charging Ryan Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering, intimidation, and money laundering.
Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024.
U.S. officials allege Wedding used semi-trucks to import 60 tons of cocaine annually into the U.S. That amount of drugs is the same weight as 40 standard cars.
Ryan Wedding is extremely dangerous. He's extremely violent, and he's extremely wealthy. He's being protected by the Sinaloa cartel, along with others in the country of Mexico.
American law enforcement has been working with the RCMP because of his links to Canada and his alleged connection to 4 murders in Ontario. It's believed his vast network includes a former Mexican law enforcement officer and money launderers from Italy and the UK.
Fugitive Ryan Wedding remains one of the top threats to Canadian public safety, and as per the previous indictment, continues to run an over $1 billion a year criminal enterprise.
While increasing the reward for his arrest to $15 million, U.S. law enforcement is asking for the public's help to find Wedding.
Please understand that he might change his hair color, his appearance, and do anything to avoid capture, but someone like Ryan Wedding is going to stick out in Mexico.
With today's indictment, U.S. law enforcement says approximately 36 people have been indicted, and they warned Ryan Wedding that his days are numbered. Sandy?
All right, Mike, thank you. Now, we also learned today that police in Canada swooped in yesterday and arrested multiple Canadians, part of Wedding's criminal enterprise, including his lawyer. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver with the Canada-wide investigation that led to the capture and detention on Tuesday. Annie.
Sandy, the RCMP says that so far, 7 Canadians accused of having ties to the Wedding organized crime group have been arrested.
The RCMP arrested the Canadians in Quebec, Ontario, and Alberta. All were allegedly working with Wedding and now face a range of charges from conspiracy to commit murder to drug trafficking and other offenses. According to the indictment, Toronto's Roland Sokolowski, a professional poker player, allegedly managed and laundered the ring's drug proceeds. And the self-proclaimed cocaine lawyer, Toronto's Deepak Paradakar, allegedly introduced Wedding to drug traffickers and is accused of helping Wedding with bribery and murder, and of providing a range of illegal services beyond his scope of practice. Several other Canadians are allegedly tied to the murder of a witness known as Victim A. Montreal's Edwin Besora Hernandez is accused of providing the witness's contact information. Laval's Atna Ona was allegedly a hired sicario or hitman that facilitated the murder of Victim A. Edmonton's Ahmad Nabil Zoutin and Calgary's Alistair Chapman are accused of attempting to locate Victim A so that Victim A could be killed. Mississauga's Gurswak Singh Bal was allegedly paid approximately $10,000 not to post about wedding and instead to post about victim A so they could be located and killed.
Yesterday, we engaged in an operation following information that we received and arrest 7 out of 8 Canadians. All of them are currently locked up, waiting the extradition process.
All of the Canadians will be extradited to the United States, where they will face charges. The RCMP say they're still looking for one individual, Tommy Demorzi of Montreal. They believe he's currently a fugitive in the Dominican Republic. Sandy.
CTV's Annie Bergeron Oliver. Thank you, Annie. The leader of Quebec's Liberal Party, Pablo Rodriguez, has called for an investigation into a vote for cash scheme. The former federal Liberal MP says he didn't know anything about allegations that party members may have been paid to vote for him before this week. CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin now on the repercussions for the leader and the party. Geneviève.
Yes, Andy, with so many rumors swirling, many are demanding answers. Quebec Liberal leader Pablo Rodriguez faced a barrage of questions.
Je n'ai rien à cacher. Rien à cacher.
And he repeatedly denied any knowledge of allegations of a vote for cash scheme to get him elected leader.
I have nothing to hide. I'm fully transparent, and I don't accept that my party is attacked like this.
Rodriguez took the helm of the provincial Liberals in June in a hotly contested race. This week, in the wake of turmoil over firing within the party, the investigative unit of Québécois Media published what it alleges are text messages between 2 elected officials. One reportedly discusses getting the vote out for Rodriguez. A separate one allegedly refers to party members getting a brownie for voting. Rodriguez warned people against reaching conclusions until an inquiry is done, saying nothing confirms whether the texts are real or falsified.
What I've said is that there's a few textos this morning, not related to anyone, no source confirmed, no phone number, nothing. And this can destroy lives, careers, and hurt the party.
Before making the move to provincial politics, Rodriguez was a long-time federal Liberal MP, a former cabinet minister and Quebec lieutenant. Some of his former colleagues expressed confidence in Rodriguez in Ottawa, including Minister of Transport Stephen McKinnon, who called him a friend. The party says vague allegations were made in the spring, but dismissed as unfounded. The investigation is expected to go quickly. Sandy.
Geneviève, thank you. Now, at that briefing this morning in Washington, the U.S. Attorney General also responded to calls for the release of all the Epstein files after both the House and the Senate approved the bill. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon on what happens next and the obstacles still ahead. Hey, Joy.
Sandy, it is now in the president's hands, but even after it's signed, concerns about victim privacy and new active investigations could delay or even block their release.
The Senate has passed the bill under unanimous consent.
For these survivors, this was a long time coming, rejoicing after Congress voted overwhelmingly to force the Justice Department to release government files on Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
One of the best days of my life, to feel seen, validated, and heard for the first time.
It's been 5 administrations, almost 30 years of fighting this, and this is amazing.
It's estimated more than 1,000 girls were abused in Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking ring. The bill to release the records expected to be signed into law by the president, who for weeks resisted and has the power to do it now, but bristled when asked why he doesn't.
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right.
The bill compels the Justice Department to make public the Epstein records within 30 days. But President Trump demanded new investigations that could delay or stop their release, singling out Democrats like former President Bill Clinton and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers when pressed on a timeline.
Information that has come for there's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads.
Many of the survivors just want the truth to finally come out, asking the president for the complete release of all the Epstein-related files without delay or redactions.
Okay.
Sandy?
CTV's Joy Malbon. A PEI man has been accused by the RCMP of printing so-called ghost guns and is now facing what police say are the first terrorism charges in Atlantic Canada. CTV's Maria Saru has been watching this story unfold. Okay, tell us about the charges, Maria.
Sandy, the Mounties have laid 2 terrorism charges against a man named Daniel Desmond Crowder. He's accused of knowingly facilitating terrorist activity by possessing weapons and manufacturing firearms. The Mounties also allege he owned 3D printing equipment, guides on manufacturing an AR-15 rifle, plus firearms and their components, intending that they be used to facilitate or carry out a terrorist activity.
With all the evidence we found in his computer, it was enough for us to lay those charges.
Earlier this year, officers with the PEI RCMP arrested Crowder following reports he was threatening people and organizations online. They also found and seized these 3D printed firearms from his home in North Rustico. Crowder was released under strict conditions in July and then later placed on what's called a terrorism peace bond.
He had restriction about having contact with the computer or cell phones, and this was a way for us to be sure that Mr. Crowder was being peaceful.
The RCMP adds he is now in custody and will appear in court tomorrow. Sandy.
All right, CTV's Maria Saru. It's not every day a leader of the opposition is tossed from the chamber, but that's what happened in Ontario after the NDP's Merritt Stiles called the government corrupt.
It is the endless grift of a anti-democratic and, yes, corrupt government.
Stiles was in a heated exchange with the Labour Minister over a training program for workers. The Skills Development Fund has been dogged by allegations the minister's office was improperly involved in selecting companies for funding. Stiles was given the chance to recant but refused and was escorted from the chamber. Well, not far from Toronto, Brampton City Council met to consider an important motion that could spur change. Now, we've been sharing stories about the alarming number of sepsis infections with devastating consequences. Today, at that meeting, an anguished widower begged for action. CTV's Adrian Gabriel was there. Adrian, tell us about the motion and that poignant moment.
Sandy, many hope that the motion passed right here inside Brampton City Council today will be an important step towards saving lives across the country. It calls for standardized protocols for the early detection and treatment of sepsis.
A widower weeps in front of a city council.
She had sepsis.
On June 19th, 40-year-old Ravinder Sidhu arrived at Mississauga, Ontario's Credit Valley Hospital to deliver her 3rd child. 4 days later, she was dead. The initial cause of death, a Group A sepsis infection. Her husband is accusing hospital staff of ignoring her clear symptoms. The Sidhus aren't alone. On January 19th, 29-year-old Selena Klinger-Evans died in London, Ontario, 2 days after giving birth. A Group A sepsis infection is also listed as the cause of death.
It baffles me that in 2025, a 29-year-old woman can die from an infection from childbirth.
Both families believe their loved ones' deaths were preventable if the symptoms had been recognized sooner and antibiotics administered immediately.
For 2 days, she fought it with no help from the doctors and hospitals. She was just given Tylenol and Advil.
Gurinder Sidhu has been on a mission for change. It includes this petition with more than 15,000 signatures, which led him to Brampton City Hall, where council passed a motion unanimously today calling for standardized sepsis screening, early identification, and rapid intervention.
I truly do believe we can prevent deaths. It's a cry for change, and this motion will be that change.
Officials here hope these cries resonate across the country.
Hopefully, we're going to really start a conversation in Ontario and in Canada about how we can address this.
Make this change now so that we can prevent these future deaths, which are totally preventable.
So that no other children are left to write love letters to a mother who's never coming home.
Health Canada have told us that they believe that existing infectious disease policies have contributed to a reduction in sepsis cases. Sandy.
All right, CTV's Adrian Gabriel. Coming up after the break, the controversy behind the clause
it's a slippery slope to going to the next group that you don't like.
The debate over Alberta's decision to block court challenges. Prime Minister Mark Carney has touched down in the United Arab Emirates on the first leg of his latest overseas trip. The Prime Minister was greeted by an honor guard on arrival. He will meet with top government officials and is hoping to sign an investment agreement with the UAE before he leaves to attend the G20 summit in South Africa. A lot of criticism in Alberta today over the province's decision to invoke the notwithstanding clause to block court challenges on 3 transgender policy bills. This is the second time in a month the Danielle Smith's government has used it as a tool. CTV's Kathy Lee in Calgary now on the controversial move and the debate it's ignited. Hey, Kathy.
Sandy, people in the transgender community and their supporters are devastated by the government invoking the notwithstanding clause to get around any infringements of charter rights. This is all part of Bill 9, which bans hormone therapy for kids under 16 and gender-affirming surgery for those under 18, requires parental consent for pronoun changes in school, opt-in only sexual health classes, and blocks trans athletes over 12 years old from competing in female sport, requiring proof of gender at birth.
The goal of this bill is less transgender people. Seeing my government target such a small amount of our provincial population is absolutely appalling when truly we're just trying to live our lives in our own peace and in our own lane.
The province says it is unapologetically defending parents and children with the decision. This is the second time in this fall session the UCP government has invoked the notwithstanding clause. Just weeks ago, it was used to force the end of the teacher strike.
What's more important, too, are the broader implications of this. Once you can violate the freedoms, rights, fundamental rights and freedoms of one group, it's a slippery slope to going to the next group that you don't like or that you think might make you more politically popular with some in your party.
2 of the 3 bills are facing court challenges, and a group called Queer Citizens United will be holding a rally in Calgary tomorrow afternoon. Sandy.
Okay, Kathy, thank you. Still ahead, taking a new ban at face value. How the UK plans to stop the resale of tickets for profit. A Russian missile and drone attack killed at least 20 people overnight at a residential building in western Ukraine. The blast tore away upper floors of this apartment complex in the city of Ternopil. Another 66 people were wounded in other strikes targeting energy and transport infrastructure. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched more than 470 drones and 48 missiles in the overnight attack. The United Kingdom is moving ahead with a ban on reselling tickets for profit in an attempt to disrupt price gouging. The British government says fans are getting ripped off by people using bots to snatch up bundles of tickets for popular concerts and other events and reselling them at sky-high prices.
Hopefully, this will prevent those touts from being able to do that and ensure that there's a fair playing field for fans who want tickets to go and see these great artists and get tickets to these great events.
Radiohead's upcoming tour in London is one of the highest priced on resale sites. Standing tickets for its show later this week, originally priced at $156 Canadian, now go for $1,600 on resale sites. Well, a portrait with a complex history has become the most expensive work of modern art ever sold at an auction.
Elizabeth Lader, a portrait only at Sotheby's here in the Breuer. The Klimt, Julian, is yours. Congratulations.
The buyer remained anonymous, but the 6-foot-tall portrait by Austrian artist Gustav Klimt sold for more than $235 million at Sotheby's in New York. The piece was completed in 1916, but was looted by the Nazis during the Second World War and remained hidden from public view for decades.
Thank you, David.
And a tiny Caribbean nation has just made sports history in a very big way.
Obispo gets the header out. Curaçao have done it.
The small island of Curacao is headed to the World Cup after a 0-0 draw Tuesday with Jamaica. The island, which is located in the Caribbean Sea just southeast of Aruba, becomes the smallest nation by population to make it to soccer's crowning event. Curacao has a population of 156,000. After the break, an exercise in unhealthy habits. Why Canada isn't getting good grades when it comes to staying active. Okay, everyone, you'll want to stand for our next story because as a nation, we're not doing that well when it comes to physical activity. In fact, according to Participaction's 2025 report card, Canadians are barely getting a passing grade. CTV's Alison Bamford is here to tell us what we're doing wrong and what needs to change. Alison.
Well, Sandy, Canadians certainly aren't straight-A students in the subject, and it has a lot to do with our daily behaviors. We're on our phones, we're sitting still, and we're not moving as much as we used to.
We all know how important it is to keep your elbows up, but it does take strength and stamina.
Hal Johnson has spent his career pushing people to move, but as co-host of Canada's iconic Body Break, he's not seeing everyone practice what he's preached.
The society has changed a great deal in a less active way.
Less than half of Canadian adults are meeting physical activity guidelines, which recommend at least 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity each week. Participaction's new adult report card gives Canadians a C- in the subject, an area that's remained stagnant for years. In daily step count, grades slipped. Just 32% are meeting the recommended 7,500 steps a day, a drop from 49% in 2021.
Current society is based out of technology, so these technological advancements have pretty much socially engineered movement out of our daily lives.
Physical inactivity can cost big bucks, according to the report. $3.9 billion is spent every year on what researchers call avoidable healthcare expenditures. They say policy changes are needed to move the dial forward.
We need to make it the easy choice for adults in Canada. We need coordinated action from multiple sectors, multiple levels of government, employers, healthcare, everything.
As for Canadians who want to improve their grades in physical activity, experts say even a brisk walk can count towards heart-pumping minutes, and steps taken during a light stroll, house cleaning, or grocery shopping all add up. Sandy?
Okay, I'm on it, Alison. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your time with us. I'm Sandy Ronaldo, your local CTV News is coming up. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.